Hey everyone, John Gonzalez here from the Going Gonzo Show. You can find us online. Go to facebook.com, search for Going Gonzo Show, and we'll get you all the information on what's happening in your world. And what's going on in my world right now is I got a couple special guests in the studio today. Ben Darcy, the Michigan Beer Dude, and he's got a million other titles. Also, Paul Starr. Is that right, Paul? Did I get that right? Paul Starr from I'm a Beer Hound. Sorry, I'm a little distracted today. A lot going on here in the studio. But you guys have, I called you in my blog today on MLive. You were up for the challenge of picking the top 25 beers in Michigan. I mean, whose idea was this to start this, to do this list?
Well, I approached Ben just about doing it, and I said, hey, it'd be kind of a cool thing to do.
Yeah.
And I don't know, just kind of put it together.
Well, no, I know, Ben. I had my challenge when I went to go pick, Michigan's best brewery. I kind of went on an overall brewery experience. We talked about doing the Michigan's, best, beers, but it just wasn't going to happen because we thought, how do we pick a porter over a stout,
Absolutely.
But you're up for the challenge, man.
It was very difficult. I mean, that was probably one of the hardest things is that, you're managing a bunch of different styles.
Yeah.
You're managing a bunch of different kinds of beer, from light to dark, from weak to heavy, all sorts of different styles of beer. So it was very difficult sort of trying to actually rank these beers.
Now, Paul, where can we find the complete list? I know it's going to be up today.
Yeah, you can find it on the Beerhound site, and you can hit it from the Beerhound Facebook page or eventually Twitter, too.
All right, so you guys are the brave souls to do this. I'm going to step out of the office for a second because I've got a breaking news story going on in the news world right now. But I'm going to let you guys kind of take over the rest of the show here, all right? You guys run down the list, if you wouldn't mind. But before you get to number one, make sure someone comes and grab me from the other studio, okay? Because I want to find out what's number one. So you have a whole 25. Is this one list or two lists?
It's one list.
Yeah, one list.
One single list.
And is this a collaboration between the two of you guys, or is it Ben's list or Paul's list?
It's Ben's list.
Ben's list. All right, so you're the one that we're going to throw tomatoes at.
Yes, indeed. It's bound to happen.
All right, well, let's count down from 25 to number one. How about that?
Excellent. We can do that.
Let's start at number 25.
Great. All right, number 25 on my top 25 Michigan beers overall. There's a couple things I wanted to say real quick in terms of the top 25. Is that one, that this list is just my opinion. I can't say this enough. There are so many people that get so upset that their favorite beers aren't on the list. And so firstly, I just want to say that this list is just mine. It's just my opinion. It's so great to be able to put this out there into the world of I'm a Beer Hound. So it's so awesome to be able to share this with all of you. So keep that in mind. Number two is that this list is not style specific. It's not a top IPA list. It's not a top porter list. It's not a top barrel age list. It's top 25 overall. So you can imagine how difficult that would be. And then I also wanted to add in there that I can't include beers on this list that I haven't personally tasted before. It would be unfair of me to sort of include beers on the list that I can't personally vouch for or speak to. So all of the beers on this list are ones that I have had myself. And on that note, if your favorite beer from your corner brewery isn't included on this list, it's not an insult. It's nothing, it's not, I'm not poking at people, not including, their favorite neighborhood beer, but it's just something to keep in mind that I do have to have tasted these beers before to include them on the list. So why don't we go ahead and start at that 25 and we'll go from there.
Yeah, 25 is the Rockford Brewing Company Sheheen Irish Stout.
Indeed, Rockford, Sheehan's Irish. This is one of my favorite dry stouts. It's just so good, so dry. And I find that most dry stouts in the state just really aren't that dry. They just aren't dry enough for me. So we'll go ahead and I'll go on and move to number 24. Number 24 is Atwater Brewing Company's Decadent Chocolate Ale. I ran across this beer a few times at festivals in 2013 and really enjoyed it. Light and crisp with a great chocolate presence. Would be awesome with some plain New York cheesecake.
Yeah, this beer is delicious. I've had this several times. I think it's the best chocolate stout I've had out there. I mean, probably the best I would think overall. But I mean, it's a delicious beer. It's very chocolatey. I've had chocolate stouts before that just kind of like a hint of chocolate, and this one doesn't fall short. It's delicious. It's full bodied, definitely.
You want to go on to 23?
Yeah, 23 is the Cranker's Honey Kolsch.
This is a great one. This is one of my favorite Kolsch's in the state. There's a few around, and they're all pretty good. But for me, the Cranker's Honey Kolsch really manages to stand out. It's bright, it's crisp, it's clean. It's got a wonderful yeast presence, and it's one of many excellent beers coming out of Cranker's Brewery in Big Rapids.
I personally haven't had this beer, but I do love a lot of Cranker stuff, and I think it takes a lot of something to put a Kolsch on the list, because, I mean, it's, a lot of people wouldn't say a Kolsch is, this amazing style of beer. I think it's a great style of beer. It's clean, it's easy drinking, and it's delicious.
Absolutely, I agree. It's a very underrated style of beer. It's not necessarily something that people think about right away, and especially in terms of, some of the best beer in the state. But really, this is a standout Kolsch. It's excellently constructed and very well executed. It's just great and delicious year-round, but especially in the hot summer months.
Number 22 is Saugatuck Brewing's Neapolitan Milk Stout, and this beer I really love, and I mean I've had tons of Neapolitan ice cream before, and they hit it out of the park. It's not a beer I can have every day, but it's a delicious stout.
Absolutely. This is one of the things that impresses me most about this beer isn't necessarily actually the flavors that are present in it, which is cherry, chocolate, and vanilla are all in this milk stout. But one of the most impressive things to me about this beer is I actually think it's one of the better milk stouts that are around in the state. A lot of people sort of take stabs at doing, lactose milk stouts, but I find that a lot of them are just kind of lacking on the lactose end. They're really not creamy enough for me, and they're not really sort of, milky enough for me and what I like out of my milk stouts. But the Neapolitan has a great lactose milk presence in it. It's very full and silky. And then, of course, the flavor presence on top of it is just absolutely fantastically well balanced. And then also, I agree very much. It's definitely not a drink all the time type of beer, but man, is it a treat. We're going to go ahead and move on to number 21, which is going to White Flame Brewing Company's Barrel Aged Black Sheep IPA. This is a big one, and, this is a little brewery out of Hudsonville, but, make no mistake, they're making some great beer over there, and their standard Black Sheep IPA is one of the best black IPAs around, and the barrel-aged version is absolutely fantastic, and it is a favorite of theirs to bring to beer festivals as well. So if you find yourself at, hopefully Fifth Third Ballpark this coming February, I would stop over to the White Flame tent, see if they brought some of that barrel-aged Black Sheep.
And next up is Dragonmean Brewery Final Absolution. This is a great beer. I think it's one of the best styles Michigan Brewery does of the Belgian Triple. And it's Dragonmean's flagship beer, but it's not a flagship beer that I get tired of. If it's on tap somewhere, I'm like, that's
It's a good sign.
It's not. I don't always want it, but it just. A great beer. It's it's higher. It's a high gravity beer, so it's not every day, but it's definitely a mainstay beer that I definitely enjoy having.
I love that Final Absolution. I think the balance between the malt presence and the yeast presence is just fantastic. Great yeast, a little bit of funk, a little bit of tart on the end, but my goodness, is that yeast sort of spicy and full and delicious. Go ahead.
Next up is the Mitten Brewing Company Country Strong IPA.
Indeed. There's so many IPAs. There are so many IPAs in this state that it's really difficult to, really pick the standout ones. Because when you're really thinking about, Michigan beer as an overall, you have to be able to sort of, find some prime examples of the style. And there are many, many different IPAs in the great state of Michigan, but personally I found that Country Strong IPA from Mitten Brewing Company has, for me, managed to just peak out above all the other ones. It's a fantastic blend of hops, including some Falconer's Flight, that just gives it a wonderful, soft grapefruit presence to it. That's just absolutely fantastic. I don't know if you got to taste this one before?
I have not had this one before.
Okay, it's on the list.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. So that was number 19. Now we're moving on to number 18. This one is going to Saugatuck Brewing Company, their Draminatrix Russian Imperial Stout. I've got to taste this one a couple times at festivals, and man, it is a beast. It's a big one. It is bold. It is intense, and my goodness, what a Russian Imperial Stout. I believe there's quite a bit of alcohol in that one, too.
Yeah, this is another one that I have not had before. I've actually haven't seen it before, so it must be pretty rare beer.
It is. They bring it every once in a while. They bring it to a festival. Hopefully, with the upcoming Winter Beer Festival, they'll bust it out to try to help keep everybody warm through the fest. Oops.
Next up, we have number 17 is Jolly Pumpkin's Beer to Mars. I to me, like, Jolly Pumpkin is just awesome. There's so many other beer styles I love. I mean, Beer to Mars it's a traditional Belgian beer style that I really enjoy a lot. It's a great beer.
Absolutely. One of the things that I love best about this one, it just has such a fantastic yeast presence, a beer to guard style Belgian, so it's got some malt to it, it's got some alcohol, and it's also got some great yeast presence to it as well. And like most Jolly Pumpkin beers, it's got a great amount of sort of sour Belgian tartness to it that just can't be beat. Obviously, Jolly Pumpkin makes a bunch of great Belgian style beer, but I had to pick one, so I went with Beer to Mars. It's a great one.
Hey guys, I just walked back in the studio. Sorry, where are we at on the countdown?
We're on number 16.
Number 16. Well, we're going to have a little break, I think, in the action before a news conference. So I might bring you live on the air with us here in a few minutes. So why don't you guys continue on?
Okay.
And let's keep going. But I'll bring you in. Maybe we'll do the top 5 live on the air. Okay.
Okay. Sounds good. So number 16 is the Shorts Brewing Company, the Liberator Trippa. I think I've had this beer before, but it's probably at many of the festivals, and I don't totally recall. So since this is your list, Ben, you explain a little bit of the.
It is okay. I mean, Shorts makes so many great beers, but I sort of had to think, what are some of the standouts for me, and then what are the standouts from the standouts? So I decided to go with a Liberator double IPA, and this is a great double IPA from Shorts. I believe it's made with tangerines or clementines, some sort of small tart citrus. It's just absolutely fantastic. The citrus on top of the hop presentation is just huge and dynamic and delicious, and I believe it's got quite a fair amount of alcohol in it too. So it's a nice big double IPA with a great citrus note that just rides right on those hops. And man, it's a great double IPA.
Well, and next up is Kuhn Brewing Company's Raspberry Eisenbach, which I had this 2-3 weeks ago. It is just delicious.
Absolutely.
It's very, very boozy, and I mean, what is it, like 15%?
Yeah, I think 13 to 15, somewhere in there.
50%. So you can't have a lot of it, but it's a treat. And I mean, there's so many beers that Kuhn does that they do extremely well, and I'm excited about them getting more the production facility going, so more people can try some of their beers that aren't in the Warren area.
Absolutely, and they just started distributing across the state as well. So we're just starting to see some Kuhn Brewing over here in Grand Rapids for the first time, which is pretty exciting. This Raspberry Eisbach is a big fan favorite. It goes over very well at beer festivals. And it's huge, it's beautiful, it's elegant, it's got a lot of raspberry to it, and it's very malty as well. It's a very sort of big beer, but it is deceptively smooth. My goodness, does it go down like nothing. All right, we're going to move on to the next one. We're moving to number 14, and that goes to Perrin Brewing Company's Malted Milk Ball Barrel-Aged Imperial Porter. This is a big one. This beer was aged in Woodford Reserve barrels on cocoa nibs and Tahitian vanilla beans. Big imperial stout. I believe it came somewhere out around 10%. It was a big beer, but just fantastic presentation of all these melded flavors. It spent quite some time in the barrel on those cocoa nibs and vanilla beans. So the flavors presented are just massive, and I would expect to see some of this at the upcoming Winter Beer Fest as well.
Yeah, I'm from not being from the Grand Rapids area. Some of these beers that you've had before that I haven't had a chance to have this, but I'm pretty stoked because probably my current top beer of theirs would be their brown.
Oh, the Kona Brown.
The Kona Brown. Yeah, that's a great beer, and so I'm really interested to try that.
It's good. It's real big. It's got some nice barrel on it. But yeah, so hopefully we'll be able to get a bunch of these at the upcoming Winter Beer Festival for those of us who are lucky enough to be attending.
So next up is Brewery Vivant's Plow Horse Belgian Imperial Stout.
This is a great one. First things first, there's really not that many people that are doing Belgian stouts, let alone Belgian Imperial stouts. So it's great to see this unique